Girl did nothing wrong.
In this video, I will briefly be discussing racism in the light of another Black life ended by police violence. I will not go into details regarding the death of George Floyd, but I ask that viewers practice caution and self-care if choosing to watch. If you don't finish the whole video, I ask you please check the description for donation links, petitions, and information. The following are my opinions and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the creators mentioned. On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was murdered by the police. Floyd was a 46-year-old Black man, a father of 2 daughters, and a rapper. His death was filmed by several bystanders, and it caused outrage as another instance of Black death at the hands of police in the United States. This topic quickly became huge across social media platforms as protests spread across the country. When it comes to issues of injustice, it is important that people use their voices, physical presence, and wallets to offer any help they are able to. So starting on May 28th, 2020, Lillee Jean Truman went to Twitter to retweet and comment on the trending topic of George Floyd's murder. But seeing these tweets rubbed me the wrong way. Why? They were posted by the same woman who, alongside her mother, allegedly has a history that involves using outright lies and manipulation to deplatform or attempt to remove content from Black creators, while also ignoring people of color who tried to educate her. I must make it clear that I am not saying these Black creators were targeted because of their skin color. They were clearly targeted because they spoke out about Lillee Jean and her so-called celebrity status. Regardless, the actions that Lillee Jean and Lord Truman allegedly took only have negative consequences for those creators who have worked hard to build their audience and their platforms. In Diane Awesome Laser's video, Lillee Jean, Controversial Queen, Legal Intimidation, Mass Flagging, and False Copyright Claims, she does a great overview of the ways in which Lillee Jean and her momager have engaged in tactics to abuse social media reporting systems. While Lillee Jean and Lore claim they have done nothing wrong, content creators are still suffering. I want to highlight a few examples of Black content creators, specifically from the United States, whom Lore attempted to have deplatformed or have their content removed. Lauren Elise, a Black beauty guru, had her Twitter account suspended after some drama with Lillee Jean and Lore. After Lauren posted tweets asking if anyone had heard of Lillee Jean and questioned her follower numbers and engagement, things escalated to a point at which Lore threatened Lauren Elise by sending a tweet to the wrong Twitter user. In a BuzzFeed News article, Lauren explained that she had reason to believe that Lore and Lillee Jean orchestrated and engaged in a mass flagging campaign to remove her Twitter account. She felt this was the case due to the timing coinciding with the escalation from Lore and the fact that other users who had spoken out about Lillee Jean were suspended at the same time. Twitter later found that Lauren Elise had not made any violations of policy worthy of suspension. Tater Tatiana, an Afro-Latina YouTuber, first made a video about Lillee Jean on April 20th of 2020. She eventually attempted to work with Lore to set up an interview with Lillee Jean, which never went through. Tatiana then became the subject of countless written and video attacks by Lore, as well as several unsuccessful false copyright claims. On May 28th of 2020, Tatiana posted a video discussing how she believed Lore and Lillee Jean got her Twitter account permanently suspended because she had shared copies of emails between herself and Lore that contained a publicly available email address that Lore was using. This unfair targeting of her Twitter cost her access to a handle that had just reached 1,000 followers and was her main way of communicating with those who followed her content. On May 1st, 2020, Conscious Carl made a reaction video to one of Lillee Jean's makeup tutorials. He was notified that Lore had attempted to make a copyright claim on his video, but YouTube said it was covered under fair use. By the time Lore attempted to claim his video, she had been unsuccessful in getting videos taken down on enough occasions that there was no reason she should have believed that she was validated in making these claims. But the point stands that Carl was yet another Black creator who had his video unfairly targeted by a woman who seems uninterested in understanding fair use. Something truly upsetting is that these women have claimed that they have already addressed and settled accusations that Lillee Jean has said racist things. I want to show that that is absolutely not the case. Two incidents that Lillee Jean has been called to account for on more than one occasion are as follows. When she was 15 years old, in September of 2016, she wrote on her blog, theeyeballqueen.com, the following, quote, "Heck, some people still bring up the ploy of my ancestors were in the slave trade, yet when confronted won't acknowledge the fact that some Africans owned their own slaves and some owned the biggest plantations. Pitiful, really." End quote. The blog post was actually about LGBTQ pride makeup, and while Lillee Jean may have intended to make a point that people need to come together, she instead succeeded in making it clear that she feels it's wrong for Black people to speak about slavery because she believes they participated in it and were somehow responsible for it. Then, when Lillee Jean was 17 years old in December of 2018, she made a podcast about cultural appropriation in which she said,
"If I'm not complaining, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Stop
really.
Stop it now. We know what happened. And if you want to get serious here, they're trying to erase my culture. They're trying to say that the Holocaust never happened. They're not trying to say slavery never happened."
I fully understand that Lillee Jean was a minor when she made these remarks. I understand it's not fair to base my current thoughts on someone based solely on what they said when they were young and potentially uneducated on certain topics. That's exactly why I'm not doing that. Lillee Jean, who is now a 19-year-old adult, has been challenged to reconsider these thoughts on multiple occasions. Her reaction to such challenges indicates that she likely has not changed her feelings in any meaningful way. This screenshot shows people of color explaining to Lillee Jean that some things she said in that podcast were harmful. Lillee Jean responds by telling them there is no reason to fight and using the phrase "end of story" to try to stop the conversation. She instead blames those trying to educate her with starting fights. In this screenshot, the commenter makes the case more clearly. Lillee Jean is not truly acknowledging what is being said and is being dismissive and trying to silence people of color. Lillee Jean even says she went back to listen to the podcast in question, but she does not admit to any wrongdoing, and again tries to end the conversation. This is a clear example of people trying to help Lillee Jean learn from her past mistakes. But she has been nothing but resistant to the attempts. These people who are trying to educate her are not being cruel or unfair. They're bringing up valid points and they are being outright ignored. This is why I think it's very fair to hold a 19-year-old adult Lillee Jean accountable for these words. She is not given a full explanation of the situation or her current understanding of what people are challenging her on. Unfortunately, I feel it might be difficult to get Lillee Jean to give an explanation about what she said and how she feels now because she and her mother Lore seem to think they have already addressed the accusations of racism. I want to go over some instances in which Lillee Jean and her mother Lore publicly address the allegations that Lillee Jean has been racist. I will not include every single video or post because a lot of them repeat points already made. On January 18th of 2020, Lillee Jean posted a video titled "New Year, New Me" to her YouTube channel. While researching, I saw this video had been marked as unlisted. When I went back to reference this video, I did so through links Lore had put in the description of one of her so-called debunking videos. I'm not sure why it's been made unlisted, but it can no longer be found on her YouTube channel or through search functions. In this video, Lillee Jean discusses her growth in her personal knowledge about transgender issues and apologizes for lack of previous understanding. She also takes time to admit that her thoughts have changed on a claim she made in her Cultural Appropriation podcast that Zendaya playing Ariel in the live-action Little Mermaid film was cultural appropriation. She says that she now thinks a Black woman like Halle Bailey would be a great fit for the role of Ariel, who she described in the July 2019 video, Not My Ariel, the Little Mermaid Halle Bailey thoughts, as a criminal.
I mean, Ariel's sitting there as some crab she abducted is singing shalalala. Envision Hallie doing that and not Ariel. Like, the tone completely changes.
While she seems to feel she has atoned for the fact that she was wrong about cultural appropriation, she doesn't seem to understand that saying a black woman is a good fit for a criminal character carries its own racist undertones. Lillee Jean and Lore both regularly link to a blog called Lillee Jean Drama. It seems to have been written by one of the two of them. On February 28th of 2020, a post was added, and one section of said post contained mentions of the accusations of racism, and in that section, the Cultural Appropriation or Diffusion podcast was brought up. The main point of this section was to once again bring up the fact that Lillee Jean had changed her ideas about whether or not having a woman of color play Ariel was cultural appropriation. But that's all it mentions. It's only a few lines and doesn't really get into the heart of why people have been saying she's racist. In this video posted to Lore's YouTube channel on April 2nd, 2020, she mentions the fact that people claim she and Lillee Jean are racist, but quickly goes off on a tangent talking about allegations they have fake accounts.
I want to also address another thing. We're racist and homophobic. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We have thousands of accounts that are fake. Wow. First of all, you have to be a hacker to have thousands of accounts.
38 seconds later, she claims that she and Lillee Jean joked around with the now infamous racist Shaniqua profile on Instagram, which many people believe was a sock account run by either Lore or Lillee Jean.
We joked around with somebody that has an account of an African American woman, okay? We joked around that she was at Lily's best friend's wedding. We joked, okay? But again, no matter what you say to anybody, oh, you're racist.
This video is over an hour long, and less than 60 seconds actually speak about the claims of racism, and it does not prove growth in understanding of the issues they've been confronted with. Instead, she seems to be making excuses for interacting with the Shaniqua profile. I want to mention how interesting it is that Lore brings up that profile, because Diane Awesomelaser has documented the ways in which Lillee Jean and Lore, before their suspicious behavior was uncovered, interacted with Shaniqua as if she was a real person. In fact, Shaniqua posted that she had met and gotten a makeover from Lillee Jean, and that was never contested by either of these ladies. But in her video titled I Am Lillee Jean, posted to YouTube on July 6, 2019, Lillee Jean claimed Shaniqua was just a random account that was nice to her. She does not mention joking around with the profile. In fact, she barely even hints at interacting with this account. Then on May 31st, 2020, a woman who is taken to defending Lillee Jean and Lore very vocally and publicly online, and considers them both friends, posted a tweet that said Shaniqua was Lillee Jean's imaginary friend. This is the fourth iteration of what the relationship between Lillee Jean and this profile has been. Hello, this is Butter Holt, the editor. I was really close to finishing this video when Lillee Jean posted something to her YouTube channel that I felt needed to be included. She shared a cosplay makeup tutorial. In it, she spent a lot of time discussing the current protests against police brutality and racism that are happening not only in the United States currently, but across the globe. From the video, I basically got the impression that Lillee Jean has figured out ways to say the right words without doing the work to be an anti-racist and correct herself on a lot of problematic things she's done in the past. So I'm going to include some clips and then let you know my thoughts.
It's like people are verbally murdering me. It's horrible. And you know, with what just happened to this poor man of color, and to see people still on about this drama, I'm disgusted.
In this clip, she literally uses the idea of people verbally murdering her as a segue into discussing the actual murder of George Floyd. And as you might have noticed, she doesn't say George Floyd's name. That is a huge issue because a lot of people who are participating in these movements want you to say the names of the murdered people because they're not just statistics, they are people and they need to be remembered as individuals. Then she weirdly throws in a line that seems to be shaming people for still talking about her drama when George Floyd's family hasn't gotten justice. This is infuriating because she managed to turn the murder of a black man into something about her. That's incredibly selfish, and it's actually pretty racist to be a white person who is putting herself in the center of a story that doesn't directly affect her.
I want you guys to know that I'm okay, and when I share it with you, I feel better. Does that make sense? Because I love seeing like your comments.
In this clip, you can see that once again, she goes from talking about murder and racist violence to discussing her fans and how she, a white woman, is okay with all the drama going on. And again, she makes herself the focal point of the conversation. It is actually kind of mind-blowing how she can find this to be an acceptable way to speak. If she truly cared about the Black Lives Matter movement and ending racism and police brutality, she would know she is in the wrong when she does this.
I have no idea what somebody of color is truly going through. To remain silent is also condoning what happened.
These clips show Lillee Jean using rather common talking points by actual anti-racists. I think she did this to try to make it seem like she cares. I think she fails to do that in a lot of ways that have been shown throughout this video so far.
My ancestors have come over and they were persecuted for being Jewish, and what's disturbing me is that in some photos of like, people who are supposed to be protecting us, they're doing these certain symbols that are white supremacist symbols.
Lillee Jean and Lore have repeatedly used the fact that they are Jewish to offset any criticism aimed at them for things they said that come across as racist.
People of color have every freaking right to peacefully protest, peacefully say what they want to say. I do not agree with, throwing a brick at a window.
She as a white person has no right to tell black people how to protest because she admits herself that she doesn't experience the same things as people of color. I'm sorry I couldn't be more thorough with that. It was a last minute addition, but I really felt that this gave a good indication that Lillee Jean wants to come across as someone who understands racism and is appalled by it, but she clearly isn't doing the work to atone for things she has done wrong in the past. With all that in mind, I want to offer up a challenge for Lillee Jean. I challenge her, without Laura's assistance, to answer the following questions. Can you link to sources that you have used to educate yourself about racism? Why do you feel you are justified in speaking out about the Black Lives Matter movement in the light of many people trying to hold you accountable for your past racially insensitive comments? Several Black creators have had their platforms and content threatened with removal or successfully suspended directly after they spoke up about you. How do you think that makes you look? What do you have to say about the fact that in your 2018 podcast, Cultural Appropriation or Diffusion, you told Black people to shut the fuck up and stop acting like their suffering was worse than yours as a Jewish person?
Stop saying your suffering is worse. If I'm not complaining, shut the fuck up.
Why has it been so difficult for you to listen to people of color when they tried to bring your attention to perceived shortcomings in your understanding of racism? There are no wrong answers. All that matters is that you're honest. Are you willing to be? I will end this video here with a reminder to you, Lillee Jean, and anyone else watching this video who might need to hear it. Black Lives Matter. Even when they discuss your potentially embarrassing actions. Black voices matter. They don't owe you their time or energy when it comes to helping you learn. So you should be grateful when they offer. Black feelings matter, and you have no right to ever tell them to shut up about their experiences. Black People matter, even when there is not a high-profile murder at the hands of cops in the news. Performative anti-racism is not anti-racism. But there's still hope for you, Lillee Jean, but only if you're willing to put in a lot of work.